snowing and blowing a bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells chime and jingle bells time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square.
And welcome to Double Talk on our Christmas show.
I was just going to eat a cookie.
Go ahead.
But
you eat and I'll talk.
These are Christmas cookies. Do you know why they're Christmas cookies? That's a Star of David.
Oh,
The so-called Jewish star.
that makes sense.
They're good.
Those are bizcochos.
Yeah, you can keep talking.
Those are traditional holiday cookies.
Really? You know what we call them?
Cookies.
Mexican sugar cookies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
They're good. Can you hear me crunch?
Bizcochitos.
I'll eat the rest later.
It's basically flour, lard, cinnamon, and anise.
You know what makes it? The lard.
The lard.
Lard is good because, fat absorbs poisons.
Oh, well, I thought you were giving me a Christmas lard. Lard is good. The lard is good. Praise the lard.
Praise the lard.
And pass the bizcochos.
I was going to give you a Christmas card, but I decided to give you this instead.
Oh,
Christmas
thank you.
lard.
Well, I don't need lard.
You don't have to. It just goes down.
It slides right down.
It's tasty.
Well, this is our Christmas show, and I guess it's our second to last show before the new year.
Second to last show, yes. The penultimate show, because next week we'll be doing the
Last show of the
special
year.
New Year's show.
Recap. We're going to recap?
I don't know. Maybe we should just wreak havoc and have discussions about what you should be drinking.
We could show, the best of from previous shows, the outtakes and everything.
That's right.
What do you think?
Well, that won't take long. The best of.
The best of? Yeah.
If it's only relative, yes, but
The best of 50 half-hour shows would last about 10 minutes.
50 half-hour shows. Is that what we did? 52 half-hour shows.
Well, it'll be 51.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to talk about one of our favorite topics. What's next?
Same-sex marriage.
Well, I'm shocked at you. I can't.
Yes, same-sex marriage is
I
now
was
legal
just being
in the
friendly.
state of New Mexico. Well, let's hope you were being friendly.
Legal because it's constitutional.
The state Supreme Court said it's okay to get married. You can marry any sex you want to now in New Mexico.
Yes, and any religion and any shape, color, or whatever. Lynn Ellens, who was marrying people, 2-3 months ago?
Yes.
And so is Bob Divin. Bob Divin was doing the
Well, Lynn Ellens said
ritual.
it's okay
Lynn
to
Ellens
do
said
it.
it's okay.
The county clerk.
They always said Lynn Ellens knew his Constitution, and he does.
Sure enough.
So that
Actually,
worked out
and he
pretty
was the
good
one here in Doña County that spurred the state
to attack it. In fact,
all the other counties fell in line.
the whole constitutional argument came up because they were charging Lynn Ellens for doing something that they said was unconstitutional, and they brought him to trial. And because they brought him to trial, it turned constitutional.
Right.
So once again, Lynn Ellens, good for you.
I think there were only like 12 counties in New Mexico who were doing it, but now that the state says it's okay, it's legal statewide.
It's legal except in Roswell, because Roswell, we know, has its own special situation.
And wherever Steve Pierce lives.
Steve Pierce lives in Roswell.
No, the Hobbs, actually.
Hobbs?
Yeah.
Aren't they the same?
Well,
What's the difference?
it's oil country.
It's oil country.
Now, New Mexico is one of 17 states in which same-sex marriage is now legal.
So it's moving along. And what else are we going to say?
Well, I noticed reading the paper and watching the news, the people who said that, they heard it was legal and they rushed down to get married, and
I'll have some more cookie while you're talking.
You don't see straight people making a big deal out of being able to get married as a straight couple. Unfortunately, homosexual couples have to it's a big deal for them to get married. Hopefully the time will come when it's not the big deal it is now.
Hopefully, yes, which theoretically, right now it should be, because it's not a big deal anymore. You can just get married.
Yeah.
I was going to say just do it. You can always just do it.
But
Getting married is something different.
Yeah, well, you can cohabit, but there's certain things that come with marriage, certain benefits and
Handicaps.
and anti-benefits too.
Anti-benefits.
You have to take the
Never
good
heard
with the
that.
bad, like Eddie.
We should do an anti-benefit show.
Figure out what all the
Anti-benefits?
cons are to getting married.
All the cons?
Well, you're married, you know.
Yes. Well, it's, you know what they say? They found out.
Your wife
this
doesn't watch
week's
the
thing.
show, does she?
No, she can't stand it. She has enough of me. The benefit of being married is you have 20% less chance of getting cancer.
That's
Did
true.
you hear that then?
Yeah, it tends to you're more healthy if you're married.
Because you have somebody nagging you and the cancer can't get a word in edgewise.
Oh, I see. Well,
Yes.
People are also healthier if they have a dog or a cat living with them. And I think that serves much of the same function. But a dog or a cat doesn't nag
Well,
you.
that's illegal, though, I believe.
Although we have a cat that nags is pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ever think of getting married? Your roommate doesn't watch this either, right?
No.
Oh,
heavens
good.
no.
Then we could talk about that. See, if you got married, you'd have 20% less chance of getting cancer. And if you did have cancer, you'd have a better chance of recovering, is what they say.
Well, because of the way I cook, my roommate has 50% less chance of getting cancer.
Because you only use
Because I cook healthily.
first-rate lard? Is that the Mediterranean lard diet that you use? What do you... Because you only use healthy foods, your chicken has no chemicals.
Well, we try to eat as organic as possible, and it's a low-fat diet that I make. No animal fats, and lots of
How do you make...
no trans fats.
How do you make chopped liver? Don't you use schmaltz, which is chicken fat?
I don't use either one.
What? Either one?
What am I, chopped liver?
Chopped liver?
I don't eat chopped liver.
One of the true blessings of being Jewish,
Yeah.
eating chopped liver.
Well, I have nothing against chopped liver, as long as it's chicken or goose liver.
Ooh, goose liver. What does
Or-
that make it? Pate.
Or duck liver.
Or pate, yes.
Yeah, well, what they do with the goose and the duck, they force feed the poor things, so their livers are engorged.
Yeah, but chicken liver, they don't bother.
Well, but you want a chicken, it has to be an organic chicken, because all the impurities go to the liver. And so if they're feeding them a lot of chemicals and garbage,
So-
it goes to the liver. You don't want to eat that.
And if you eat somebody else's liver, even if it's an animal or humans, it'll absorb the poisons. That's why people eat menudo, because it's the stomach lining, which absorbs stuff, and it gets you sober once you're drunk.
Well,
know that?
certain native tribes used to think that if you eat your opponent's heart after you've slain him in battle, then you will acquire many of his
Attributes?
positive traits. Yes.
Yes, because the heart is symbolically, where your soul might
Yeah. Plus,
reside.
it's loaded with iron. Iron that was probably
also-
in deficit in many people's diets in the old days.
They used to have to do that. That was a Mayan ritual, wasn't it?
yeah.
How do we get off on this? We're like
We do
killing
that.
the whole show, and we have like
Well,
a list. We have a job to do here to inform you guys. Oh, there's gay marriage. Did we talk about gay marriage?
Yeah, we talked about
We've
that
been
10 minutes
talking
ago.
about
I
gay
don't know why
marriage.
that's up there now.
Oh, because it just got there, because we've got off track. We started talking about liver.
Well,
Did we finish gay marriage? We're going to go on
Let's finish
to the Duck Dynasty.
well, speaking of duck liver,
Duck liver.
Duck Dynasty's in the news this week. I don't watch that show, but apparently it's one of the most popular shows on
I saw about
whatever
20
channel it's
minutes
on.
of it. It's pretty funny.
And the poor guy,
I mean,
what's the redneck's name?
Somebody Henderson. I don't know. You should have written it down.
I should have.
Richard. Anyway, the patriarch, the guy with the white beard, I believe, said something negative about gays, and everybody complained to A&E, and so they. Who?
So they turn channel now?
No, they take. He's going to be restricted
He's
from it for a
fired.
month or two. No, they said they put him on
He's suspended.
hiatus.
Okay, well, he's off the show. And there's a good chance he won't be back.
We don't know, because the 50,000 people wrote in saying they want him. When you think of the guys who they are, they're backwoods guys. They're
rednecks.
You said rednecks. Rednecks really have no truck with gay people ever. Well, there must be gay rednecks, I'm sure.
No.
I don't know.
There must be gay rednecks.
not allowed.
10%. No, they don't let them in the club if they're gay. The
No.
redneck club.
No, they can't. You can't join the Klan if you're gay.
What about Brokeback Mountain?
They cannot join the Klan.
Brokeback Mountain, they were, just cow
were
herders,
cowboys.
So
That's all they
those
were.
are like rednecks. So these are guys with beards. They consider themselves really tough.
Backwoodsmen.
Yeah, they're just. Is that what our country's made out of? No, we are an urban country, and an urban country has tolerance.
We're a melting
That's
pot.
That's how you live amongst other people. These people have stayed in a clan.
Should we be tolerant of him and his comments?
That's a good question.
Well,
I would say.
You mentioned tolerance.
Should we? It's mean of him to say anything
it's mean
bad.
spirited. It's backwood.
You said he also is intolerant of African Americans.
Apparently he's made remarks even worse
But
than
of
the remarks
course,
he did for gays.
in the South, these things happen, and in the South,
these things
they're
used
against
to happen.
gays and African Americans, possibly Jews. Of course, who's probably the producer of the show?
Democrats, they hate them. I
Hate
think.
Democrats.
of course,
Should he stay or should
or
he
anybody
go?
progressive.
I think we should convert. You know how the conservatives think that you can convert gays to being straight?
Yes.
We should go and try to convert him to be intolerant or tolerant, where he's intolerant. So you could always convert people to do things that they're not necessarily meant for.
Well, you know, they claim to be good Christians, yet they hate people that they choose to hate.
Well,
which is not the Christian way, is it?
They talk about, do we believe the Bible or culture? And what it comes down to is the Bible was written at a time when there's a certain type of culture, which was pretty much their culture. Everybody was living in clans.
You hate the other clan because they're different. Clans.
You hate anybody who's different. You perhaps try not to have anybody in your clan being gay, because then they're not going to reproduce, and your whole thing about the clan is to have babies. We're not really worried about that anymore. We have enough people. China, they put the kibosh on having lots of kids.
Yes, yeah, 1.5 kids is all you can have.
And the half one really has trouble.
So, yes.
Whatever the half one is.
Yeah, right. So, anyway, enough about him.
We're saying he should, we don't care. If you want to watch the show, watch the show. You know, that you're just breeding prejudice. You know, Rush Limbaugh says the same thing as he probably does, that guy.
Well,
you know,
he spews similar hate.
Yeah, so...
And both those shows are much more popular than this show.
I don't know. Our numbers are getting up there.
Numbers?
Sometimes they
Plural?
double. Sometimes they double.
We had a pretty good number the other day.
What number was that?
And,
a number of.
Oh, you know, I bet the guys from Duck Dynasty hate American Indians too, because they're different.
I don't know. They might like them so they could play cowboys and Indians.
Yeah, and kill them.
We don't call them Indians. Oh, they probably call them Indians.
Well, where they live is called Indian Country, and they refer to it as Indian
That's
Country
true.
here in New Mexico. And the Fort Sill Apache tribe from southern New Mexico here, out there toward Deming, they've got 30-some-odd acres of land. They want to build a casino.
30 acres of land. Oh, that's big time.
And, you know, they were displaced during the Trail of Tears.
Yeah, but they had been living up in
They were in Oklahoma, then they were sent down to Alabama, then to Florida, then back to Oklahoma. They since have moved here to New Mexico.
Travel. You know, people go all over. People from New York move to Florida. Same thing, right?
It's commuting.
Yeah.
And anyway,
So what are you saying here?
there were lots of indigenous Apaches here in New Mexico. Numerous
Itchy?
indigenous Apaches. And now the Fort Sill Apache tribe, they want to open a casino like many of the other tribes have done.
Don't you think it's a bit ironic that they're named after a fort? Perhaps the same fort that captured them and put them away? I mean, why would they? Don't they have an actual name of their tribe?
Well, I don't know.
Fort Sill Apache?
The Clearwater Apache tribe from New Mexico has married into them somewhat.
Really?
The Mescalero Apaches up near in Lincoln County, they have a big casino. They have 2 casinos up there.
Oh, here's an argument.
And you know what?
You know, you say the Fort Sill and the Clearwater married together. What about Indians assimilating into the American culture? Get away from the reservations, get into the so-called American culture, which is predominant.
That's what they attempted to do with them. That's why they broke up the tribes, broke them up, and they prohibited them from speaking their native tongue. They forced them to speak English. They forced them to dress modern. And they're back to holding on to their original culture, which is much older than the Christian culture that was being forced down their throats.
You mean their culture is 40,000 years old?
It's much older. Yes.
You know, speaking about intolerance, their culture probably had tribe against tribe.
Of course, there was a lot of intertribal.
I mean, yes, all the tribes we have are only the ones left over. We don't know all the ones that have gone before us. Mm-hmm. And before
the Anasazis disappeared.
That's because they were old.
And
they turned old.
Yeah,
that's why they're called Anasazi.
Well, anyway,
take a break.
Before we do, they're suing.
I'm going to have a cookie.
They're suing Governor Martinez to be allowed to have a gambling casino open. Do you think they should?
Do we need another gambling casino? I don't think ever. There's a whole thing about gambling. Don't smoke.
We'll get back. We'll finish up this topic right after we have these valuable words.
Eat lard.
And live long and prosper. As soon as we go to a
commercial.
And
we're going to get into
it. Wanna Be the Women's Club, located away from the crowds but close to home. Come in throughout the day for Jazzercise, the world's dance fitness leader for nearly 40 years. Treat yourself to a relaxing massage, or unwind in the lounge area or outside on the balcony with friends. La Buena Vida Women's Club, located and designed with women in mind. Information, call Diane at 650-9721.
Hey, you, come here. Do you want to know the news? The Lost Cruises channel is now on 7 days a week, so keep it right here.
Celebrate, celebrate, Fiesta Motors.
Come and see us today and discover why our service is second to none. In business for over 17 years, we have the right car for you. When you buy a vehicle from Fiesta Motors, we do everything possible to ensure your satisfaction. Located at the corner of El Paseo and Main. See you there.
Celebrate, Fiesta Motors, where buying a car is always a celebration.
We're back on Double Talk here. Mark Steffen, Michael Mandel talking about
With our what we're
In our
talking about
Christmas show. talking about Apache gambling.
Yes.
And
I
should
have
they
reservations about
Do you?
gambling. Yeah.
well should they be allowed to build a reservation to build a casino
They do have a
for the purpose of
so-called restaurant
gambling
there.
out there near Aquila Flats? Now, why shouldn't they? All the other tribes are doing it.
Obviously, Susana Martinez has something against them. There must be, you don't just do it randomly. There has to be a legal precedent.
Well, you know why
for
she has something against it.
Why? Because
The guy who owns the casino in Sunland Park has paid a lot of money to Susana Martinez to say she's against it.
I really don't see how a gambling casino just east of Deming, somewhere between Deming and Las Cruces, can ever be anywhere as big as the one in El Paso or near El Paso in Sunland Park. How could that, really?
If you jump on the freeway on Interstate 40 in Albuquerque and head west, you travel half an hour and you'll come across two big casinos across the highway from each other, out in the middle of nowhere, and they are
Yeah, but that's
full.
Albuquerque.
They're full.
Albuquerque has 500,000 people. Las Cruces has 100,000 people.
But it's going away from Albuquerque.
Albuquerque is still, people want to go away, but
It's like on the way to Albuquerque. And this
I
this
don't-
is on the way to Las Cruces, second largest city.
I think they should figure out what the chances are of making any money there. Although I guess all you do it doesn't matter how many people are there, you're the one that's making the money. There is no way anybody
Right.
going to a casino can ever imagine they're going to make money at a casino. Sure, people come back and say, well, I won like $800.
Yeah.
They say that.
But meanwhile, the casino
But-
made 80,000 that
But
week.
the average of their entire life of making money is they're losing money.
If nobody ever won anything, then nobody would ever go to gamble.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's bound to win now and then.
One of the things in some people's wiring in their heads is they only remember the times that are good, which is good. It's a good survival mechanism. So if you only remember the times that you won money in a casino and sort of said, the ones I've lost, that was just a bad day.
Yeah.
Right? Well, that's what
Better
makes
luck
it
next
a bad
time.
day, right?
Right. Well, here's something that had
Let's
nothing
talk
to
about
do with
yes,
gambling.
It
Is
does have something to do with
The Las
gambling.
Cruces Bulldogs and the Mayfield Trojans.
You could gamble with them. Who's going to win?
You can gamble against those games, and you can probably get some good action at the casinos.
You really like this story.
They
I
have
don't
the
know why
second. They have been now awarded the second best rivalry in the nation, courtesy of USA Today newspaper.
There's a rivalry right there. Because we're rivals against the people who won the first best rivalry.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
now we have to fight and be,
Yeah.
rivalous.
The number one rivalry
against
is
them.
in North Carolina, the two high school football teams. But the second in the nation, with the second most amount of votes,
That's not bad.
are our own teams right here in Las Cruces. So that's pretty good.
Yes.
I'm proud of them. Each school gets $500. So you can't beat that.
That could buy like an Oreo for each student, I would think. Not the
Oh, and
the
they get
real
a-
cookie Oreo, not an Oreo.
They get a banner too that they can proudly
a
fly.
banner.
Yeah, they
We're
get-
second best.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that it? We're second.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's kind of fun.
Yes.
But what do you do?
Let's move
What's
on.
our next topic?
Oh, birds.
God. Birds.
Now, birds, birds are
I like
a necessary thing here. Birds help pollinate. They eat a lot of bugs. They're a wonder to see.
Yes, and they
And,
attack people
and
in the street.
And birds of a feather
Look
flock
at that.
together.
That woman is either wearing a fashion that is not yet in style, or she's being attacked by crows.
Well, that'll happen sometimes. But this weekend, starting this weekend and going till next year, January 5th,
Which isn't
it's
that long.
it's the Audubon Holiday Bird Count, where volunteers will go out and count all the birds in the county. And last year, over 500 volunteers managed to count over 389,000 birds.
389,000 birds, 500 volunteers, like about 900.
One,
that guy
two,
counted 3 birds.
3, yeah. Yeah,
You know, this is good because, you know, people now know that their bird counts.
that's right. And if you want to join the volunteers to help count birds wherever you live, call a guy named Wayne Triers. You can call him at 528-8696. That's 528-8696. And you can
Call Alfred Hitchcock.
and say, I want to count birds. Now, you know, speaking of animals,
We are.
unfortunately, New Mexico
We're not number 2 in this.
is tops in the nation when it comes to animal abuse.
Yeah,
If-
we
if-
might be second in rivalries, but we're tops in animal abuse.
If you're an animal abuser, New Mexico is the best place for you to live because you'll get away with it. Nothing much will happen
Best
to
place. So, all you animal abusers, come join us because we tolerate animal abuse, right? Are you going to read
you.
something?
We do.
What
I
does
am
it
going
say?
to. Here's the problem with New Mexico.
What's our problem?
New Mexico has inadequate felony provisions for neglect. There are no felony provisions for abandonment. No provisions on sexual assault of animals.
What?
No increased penalties when animal abuse is committed in front of children. And no provisions for veterinarians to report suspected animal abuse. Now, we see a lot of animal abuse in the news. It's constant. People neglect and abuse their animals all the time, and they seem to be getting away with it.
And January's coming up. That's when we send our legislators over to Santa Fe to make laws. And I think you just have a litany of laws that could try to get pushed through.
They could
Look at that
strengthen.
poor little doggy.
He's been neglected and abused
That's
terribly.
neglected. People should actually be responsible. If you decide to own a pet, be nice
Be
to
responsible to. It's a member of your family. I'm glad to see that the county has changed its laws on leash. Chaining a dog, it can only be chained
3 hours a day.
3 hours a day now
Is that-
instead of
it. I just
24
made that
hours
up.
a day.
I just made that up. Hey, would they have a timer on your leash? It just releases after 3 hours?
You know, hey, that's
But you know, we talk about animal cruelty. We also have places where people have animals that actually attack people. And in the state, we've had at least a couple of deaths.
because dogs were abused, and so
Yes,
they
and
turn
turned
vicious,
into killers.
and so they attack.
Horrible.
Now, another thing concerning animals that we have in New Mexico
Can we
that
talk
other
about
places
something happening?
don't have is horse slaughterhouses. Now, there was a horse slaughterhouse in Roswell that was trying to reopen, and there was a lot of protest against it. Horse lovers didn't want horses to be slaughtered for food
SPCA.
primarily,
Yes.
and dog food and human consumption as well. Now, here's an animal slaughterhouse
You know,
someplace.
usually when I see
Horse.
pictures of cows, I start to salivate. But pictures of horses
Well,
don't salivate as much.
Well, we don't eat horses in this country, but they do in other countries like France and third world countries. And a horse is
countries
going to
who-
die eventually. What do you do with it when a horse dies? Let it go to waste? Why
Bury
not
it, cremate it.
Why not render it?
Throw it in the ocean.
I mean, when a cow dies and it hasn't been eaten,
There's
it
a lot of
still
meat on
gets
a cow.
rendered. You can slaughter it. The bones are valuable. Carbonized steel. Where do you think we get carbonized steel? Bones of animals, cows and horses.
Steel.
Yes, of course.
You're going to have to explain that to me after the show. I have no idea what you're talking about. Because it's pretty much carbon in bones. Carbonized
Yes.
steel.
So anyway,
They throw it into
the
steel.
horse slaughterhouse is now set to open January 1st over there in Roswell. Is that good or bad?
Is that good or bad? Well, if they're dead already, it doesn't really matter to me.
Here's a prop on its way to the Godfather set.
Yeah, you
They're
just
gonna
throw
put that
that
in
on
somebody's
somebody's bed and scare them, and then they'll change. It's a lot better to kill a horse than to
So
kill a person.
I guess we should have warned you that there were some graphic slaughterhouse photos here, but
they're
people
so
should
small
know
on your screen, you're not going to notice.
these shots don't look any different from a cow
Cattle.
slaughterhouse
Or a
People-
chicken slaughterhouse.
Right. And people
except
should
for-
know where their food comes from.
So why do people think it's okay, not you, because you don't eat beef or things with 4 legs for some reason, but it's okay to eat beef and not horse? Do they think horses are smarter, so therefore you should only eat things
Well,
based on their
horses-
IQ?
Horses aren't that smart.
I didn't think so. So the love of a horse is greater than the love of a cow? Do cows are cursed with an anonymity
Horses
that
are
horses don't
horses
have?
are looked upon as pets. Cows aren't. Horses are working animals in many cases. Cows are not.
Cows work.
Yeah.
They make milk and they can drag carts and
They don't-
things. They
they-
don't race.
No, those are
You know,
oxen.
Well, they're close to
Ox
oxen.
carts.
Ox carts.
Horses do all the work. Horses.
You talk about pets.
Won the
but,
West.
But some cultures eat their dogs and they eat their cats.
Yes, they do.
And they are meat.
Well,
and
some cultures eat each other.
That's true. You know, if we lived in a cannibal culture, we'd be chomping on each other rather than these cookies.
That's right. Well, speaking of eating, we're going to skip the turn back the sun thing, and we're going to go straight.
'cause that's silly.
Let's go straight to salsa.
Salsa experience. There you go. Here's a picture of it. Oh, there's a picture of salsas.
The salsa experience is going on. When is it, Michael?
Las Cruces, what is it, Convention Visitors Bureau, we're doing this thing. Well, they're planning a music festival the 24th, April 24th, 27th. But in the meantime, if you go into a Mexican restaurant, not all Mexican restaurants.
The ones participating.
There are 26 Mexican restaurants in this list, and you can vote for the salsa restaurant, the salsa you like it best.
You know, usually if I like a salsa in a restaurant, I like the food too.
It's true because they use a lot of the same ingredients.
They know what they're doing.
My favorite restaurant, Ciro's, isn't in here, but I do like their salsa. You don't like their salsa.
And I don't like their salsa. So you see?
But you didn't like Nora, and I like Nora. And we didn't eat Nora, we just watched it play. I don't know, maybe you did.
Finally, things we don't agree on, Michael.
Oh, that's what we did.
Controversy at last.
I know. I like the salsa at Ciro's. Who makes your favorite salsa?
Gosh, I don't know.
That's a good question.
I like a lot
You
of
out there should be able to.
I like restaurants that have a salsa bar with many different selections to choose from.
Well, a lot of them do. I mean, Miguel's, which isn't listed.
Miguel's does
Pro
one.
Ranch. I think Pro Ranch is listed.
They do.
Pro Ranch.
Andalays has a nice salsa bar.
Andalays is number one. They're the ones, I guess, who. Oh, it's alphabetical. They're number one.
Yeah. So
anyway,
that doesn't. Now this weekend we got some things coming up. We need to talk to you before we have to go away for Christmas.
Yes.
Today, downtown, all day, the Rio Grande Theater. There's things going on, musical things going on, starting at noon. There's going to be bassoons.
Bassoons.
People playing bassoons. Music
And
lovers.
tubas?
Bassoons, you know, it's an unusual instrument, but they have a very distinctive sound.
Yeah, it's of the past.
And also later on, there'll be tubas playing. And tubas are an awesome instrument. I once knew a guy who tried to play Flight of the Bumblebee on the tuba.
I've heard that. Oh, what happened?
He blew his liver out the horn. It's terrible.
I have heard it on. I've heard it on trombone.
And now here's a group of guys with their tubas. So
I think we can all agree. After accordion, perhaps tuba might be the least favorite instrument.
Well, I don't. Well, you have to. It's a heavy thing to carry around.
It's a heavy thing to carry around. It's a lot easier to carry around than a cello or a.
You don't see a tuba in a marching band.
Yeah, you do see a tuba in a marching band.
No, you don't.
You don't see a cello in a marching band.
You don't see a tuba. You see a sousaphone.
Oh, is that a
They
sousaphone?
reconfigured the tuba into a sousaphone.
Oh, we got to keep moving here. Nutcracker. This is the 30th year of the Nutcracker. Kevin Self is in this again of Michelle's
tonight,
Dance Academy.
7 o'clock.
And tomorrow at 2. Catch that last two times.
That's out of the Atkinson's Recital Hall at the University.
And Come Blow Your Horn.
The final show is tonight at 8 o'clock at the Las Cruces Community Theater tomorrow, and then Sunday tomorrow.
And you saw this last
at
week
2 o'clock.
and you liked it?
Saw it last week. I enjoyed it.
good.
Susan Smith did a great job. Hi, Susan.
Hey,
and
Sue.
I guess we're out of time, aren't we?
I'll do a Misha Bayrock for 2 people, Abe and Peter. Hope you get better.
Okay.
Send
Thanks.
in your Misha Bayrocks.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody out there.